So a tenant of ours has not paid rent for a month now, and we've done everything possible to contact the tenant, and we're not getting hold of the tenant. So today we're going to the units and identify, because we've spoken to the neighbors and the tenant is nowhere to be found. So we're going to the property to unlock and get access to our unit, and that's what we're about to do now. Abandoned rentals can leave landlords confused as to how to proceed. So what do you do when your tenant abandons your rental property? Stay tuned to find out. It's a chilly and a windy morning, but we got to get the work done. At some point in your life as a landlord, you'll be faced with an empty or half-empty unit because your tenant is nowhere to be found. Well, today, my team and I are faced with exactly the same problem. And we're here to show you how to do these things the legal and the street smart way, so that you do not find yourself ending up in jail. So there are 4 things you need to do when you find yourself with this problem. The first thing is to make sure that your tenant is really gone. Came here with a locksmith to unlock this property so that we can gain access to the property. What we have done to make sure that we are on the right trajectory is we've contacted the tenant via the emergency contact list that the tenant gave us when they applied to be our tenant, and the tenant is nowhere to be found. We can't get hold of anybody. We have spoken to the neighbors around, and they're saying that the last time they saw this tenant is about a month ago. We've also checked the utility bills via the levy statement that we receive on a monthly basis, and we've identified that our electricity and water bill has dropped. These are all signs to show that this property is indeed abandoned, and we need to do this. Right now, we're comfortable, at least we 98% comfortable that when we open this door and we go inside, our tenant cannot lay criminal charges against us, and that's what we need to have in mind. And my locksmith here is about to cut the burglar so that he can grant us access to the unit. So now that the locksmiths have been able to grant us access into the unit after very hard labor, the second thing to do is to document your investigation. The first thing about documenting an investigation is to give your tenant a formal notice. We've done this already. You normally have to give a tenant 10 days notice, notifying them to try to reach out to them. You've done everything humanly possible to get hold of them, and you haven't gotten hold of them, and therefore you come in to evict them. Basically, that's what we're here to do. Once you've given a formal notice, we have to take photos of all the things that are in the property, the inventory stock of everything that's in the property. You will need that evidence of abandonment later on. You also need to document the rent. By that I mean you need to put together a list of when was the last time the tenant paid you, how much the tenant is owing you, for future reference. You never know. And also, most importantly, you need to record all conversations that you've had. Maybe you called the tenant, it went on voice notes and the rest. You need to leave, you need to record those messages so that in future, if the tenant comes back to you and want to file or sue you, then you've got something to protect yourself. In our case, we have recorded that conversation, that the voice note that we've left for our tenant. We've also recorded all conversations that we've had with the neighbors, confirming that this tenant has not been here for about a month now. Number 3, terminate the contract. Once you've certain that your tenant is really gone and not coming back, and you've done or you've documented your investigation, you need to terminate the contract. You do this by either filing a formal lawsuit against the tenants or by just giving them an official notice filed through your local courts. By the way, you must make sure that you've changed the locks, because you never know if the tenant is coming back or not, and that is very key, so that you also protect the next tenant that you're going to put in your property. Prepare for the future. Once you've done all the necessary above and you're very certain that your tenant is not coming back, you need to then sit down and think, what are the things or clauses that are in your lease agreement that prevented you from being able to avoid all these problems in the first place, and then add those clauses in your lease agreement so that in the future you do not need to file a court case against your tenants. Guys, don't forget to be legacy builders. Remember, each one teach one. Until next time, see you in the next video. Cheers. Be a legacy builder. Watch the next video and don't forget to subscribe.